All right, you are entering the rhythm zone. I'm going to be breaking down my favorite bets, most confident picks, mild confidence, low confidence. I'll be breaking them down in tiers for UFC Vegas 114, Emmett versus Vallejos. This is something new I'm bringing to the channel. It's going to improve every week. We're going to start getting a lot more data analysis coming in, more reasoning. I'm just really cracking it off here, so expect this channel to improve at a rapid rate. But I'm excited to get into this one and give you guys a little bit more insight on the betting perspective of this fight. All right, before we get into this, make sure you go like and subscribe. First of all, follow me on Instagram, TikTok. I have a Discord channel. I'm also on Juice Reels. And then if you want to talk about any business regarding the beat you heard, go ahead, send me an email at rhythmbetsllc@gmail.com. Or even if you wanted, any collaborations, if you want a different way to get my official targets that I'm laying down, always down for business. But let's get into this. I'm excited. We're going to be doing a green zone, yellow zone, orange zone, a prop zone, and then we're going to end it off with the lock zone. That's going to be my lock of the week, one fighter. The rest of them is going to go by a tier, pretty self-explanatory by the color. So let's get into this, all right? Let's get into the green zone, all right? As you can see, we got 4 guys up there, three guys to 1 woman. So we got Elijah Smith coming in at that minus 215 favorite. He's going to be taking on Yu Sung Yu. I got him up here because he's just the cleaner striker in this situation. I think he's going to be the more complete UFC fighter here, and the athleticism. And I think that minus 215, it can be a little overpriced. I would definitely want to target anything under a minus 200. If you can find a minus 200 straight up, or like a minus 180, minus 190 range, then I think you should really jump on that. I want to say that's where it opened at one point, but yeah, definitely a target that I'm going to be looking at. Next up, we got Bia Mosqueda at the minus 700. As far as the money line on her, maybe in a parlay you could throw that as like an anchor or something, but I'm really looking for the props, inside the distance, getting that submission, the fight to go under, things like that. I think that's where you want to really target her. But overall, she's probably the biggest favorite on this card. She's very likely to go out there and get the job done. She's a beast. She looks really good in the UFC. This is her second fight after her debut where she got a sub finish. So the minus 700, it's not really screaming at me though. Like I said, maybe throw that in a parlay, but good little anchor right there. And then we got Kevin Vallejos, who he's also a big favorite here at the minus 590. There's some books where I found him all the way as low as a 550. So getting him at that is not too bad. If you can find him anything under that, snag him, throw him on a parlay. But he's the younger fighter here versus Josh Emmett. This fight, Josh Emmett could catch him. I don't know. We all don't know how his chin is, but he fought John Silva in the regional scene. He went 3 rounds and he made it a very competitive fight. I don't see Emmett getting that finish on him, and at the end of the day, I think Vallejos is going to get the more volume. Emmett is officially absorbing more strikes per minute than he is, giving, and Delgado's on the opposite end of that, where he's absorbing less than he's giving. So kind of the MMA math there, dictate that fight. I don't think there will be a finish in this fight as well. Ilia Topuria and Josh Emmett went, did they fight 5 rounds or 3? Well, he went the distance with Ilia Topuria, and I think if you can sustain getting cracked by him, who is one of the hardest hitters in these lower divisions, if not the hardest hitter, I say that this fight goes over, but Kevin Vallejos takes this one. Next up, lastly, in the green zone, we got Jose Miguel Delgado. He's going to be taking on Andre Touchy-Fili. He's the minus 390. You can probably find him at a little lower price, but he's He's on fire right now. I don't take anything away from him in that loss versus Nathaniel Wood. I actually would say, you know, if I was a judge, I would have gave it to Delgado by split. They gave, I want to say they gave Nathaniel Wood a unanimous decision, and I don't know. I think he was obviously outstruck, and Delgado was catching him. Definitely, he definitely took some rounds and made it very competitive. And you know, if they would have said the split decision, I wouldn't have been as mad as that. But before that, Delgado's on a rampage, getting knockouts, and Feely has been knocked out before. Nathaniel Wood is a different beast. He takes really good guys to decisions and pulls it off. Um, he's a very good guy fighting in this division right there. So not taking away nothing from that loss with Jose Miguel Delgado. I think he's going to get the finish here in this fight versus Andre Feely. Definitely, yeah. If you want that price to be a little bit better, find him inside the distance. I think he gets the job done here. I think you know, Nathaniel Wood's a very tough guy, very durable. The fact that he couldn't knock him out doesn't say a lot. Everyone else that he's approaching, especially someone in Andre Feely's caliber, he's getting put out. Yeah, I would definitely look for him inside the distance. All right. So that's the green zone. Those are the four most confident picks that I have right there. It's green because I'm saying go on it. You know, there's no guarantees in this game ever, but these are some goes. I might not be betting on every one of these, you know, fighters. I might be looking for other props, but these are the green. These are the guys that I'll tell you, you know, you could throw these as an anchor on your parlay or something like that. So let's move on to the yellow zone. Now the yellow zone, this is definitely the think about it. I want you just to think about it. I want you to slow down and think about these picks. They're very live. You know, we got two favorites and two dogs on here. So, you know, this is something where I think these guys are very live, but also think about it and watch, you know, who their opponent is. First off, we're gonna start off with a dog. We got Ian Cutelaba. He's taking on Umar Sy, and Umar Sy's a good prospect, but he has one loss versus Alonzo Menafield, and that worries me because Ian Cutelaba is a tough guy and he brings a lot of pressure. And for these wrestling style fighters, you know, with big power, all that power in those shots are taken away when you're getting heavily pressured. And that's something Ian Cutelaba is going to be doing. I think he's a very live dog here. I would almost even want to say, you know, maybe mess with a, you know, the straight up money line right there, plus 196, I think is a good line. I would definitely jump on that. If you can find anything higher, plus 200s, definitely jump on that easily. I would say maybe even to go as far as like a decision only Cutelaba. I don't know. Kumar Sai could take this, but I think if it goes a decision, I think pressure is going to get put on and volume will get put out by Cutelaba, and he could take this. So, you know, the decision only bets, those are if Cutelaba gets a knockout or a submission, you get refunded. If Umar Sy gets a knockout or submission, you get your money back. The only way you can lose the bet is if Cutelaba does not win by decision and Umar Sy wins by decision. If Cutelaba wins by decision, you win. If Umar Sy wins by decision, you lose. Any other outcome outside of those, you get your money back. So if you could find that at a good enough line, you know, maybe if you could find that at plus odds, something like that, maybe a minus 115, almost pick 'em type odd, I say jump on that. Wouldn't hurt, you know, throwing like a unit or two on there. I think he's very live here. But let's move on to the next one. We got Miktibek Orobly taking on Chris Curtis. He's the minus 295 favorite. I think if you can find him anything under than that, snatch him, throw him on a parlay. You know, you could pair him up with someone like Hetra Sosa and get plus odds probably right there or close to it. I think he's just the more complete MMA fighter. His grappling is going to really show in this fight. He's going to be able to be a tricky opponent for Chris Curtis. Chris Curtis did have a competitive fight with Roman Kopylov and then get dropped at the last second. Roman Kopylov, though, doesn't have the same wrestling and control, you know, or I don't want to say control. I want to say wrestling and finish threats in the grappling as Miktibek Orobly has. So finding him inside the distance could be a decent one. It just depends on how much you want to trust Chris Curtis's ability to make this competitive and get to these later rounds. But that is why he is in the yellow zone. A lot of people would probably have this guy in their green zone. I just think Chris Curtis can make this competitive. So I definitely, find something worthwhile as far as those inside the distance. I don't know if that minus 295 is worth grabbing him at the money line. Next up, though, we got Steven Asplund. Now, I don't know how much a lot of people are going to be agreeing with this. I think this guy is the real deal. I think him taking on Vitor Petrino is a great matchup for him. Vitor Petrino, if you don't know, was in the light heavyweight division, had a couple good wins, and then he lost 2 in a row to some all right guys, nothing crazy. At the time, Anthony Smith. I can't remember who the other guy is, but then he's moved up to heavyweight, and he's taken on like Thomas Peterson and someone else. Kind of, I don't really like those wins at heavyweight. Those wins aren't telling me a whole lot about this guy. Obviously he has the lighter man skill, but now he's going to go up against a guy in Steven Osplin who has hands. He just put out in 2 rounds, under 3, like 170 strikes in his last fight, and then got the finish. He was putting the hands on Sean Sharap. He has a lot of confidence in himself. He's a very good technical jabber, has good boxing in there. And it looks like his windpipes are blowing not too bad. His cardio's not the worst. He's a big dude. They get tired, but it's all about fighting through it and that mental aspect of getting there. And I think Osplin got it, man. Just like I say in the other breakdowns, that guy's a concrete worker, man. It takes a different breed of human to do that stuff. He's out here in the UFC grinding as well. I think he's a live dog here. I think he's a live dog. I think he's live to even get a finish. I'll go and say, and I'd say money line in him at plus 190 or anything higher is a steal. I say at plus anything for Steven Asplund, plus 150 and above for sure is a steal on him. I say grab him at a money line, throw about 2 units on that, maybe 1 if you don't want to get there, but he almost made the green zone. Steven Asplund almost made the green zone. Okay, we'll put it there. But yeah, I think he's all money going in this fight versus Vitor Petrino. Catch him if you can. We got Hector Sosa taking on Luan Lacerda. Now, I think here as well, he is the younger, not younger, but younger UFC career, obviously, but I think this guy is good. I think he is a complete MMA fighter. I think Luan Lacerda has a lot of defensive holes and gaps, and I think Hector Sosa is here to expose those. I think he's a clean fighter defensively, very defensively sound. He can be hit, but who can't be? His offense is great though. His level changes, everything. I think this is a good pick right here if you want to throw him on a parlay. Try to target that minus 220 range if you can get down in that area. Minus 200, I think that's a very fair price out there. 250, 240 and above is a little overpriced, but I think he's pretty live to get a finish in this fight as well. I think he can get a knockout or so, who knows, but overall he's the more complete fighter here. Throw him on a parlay. We're going to move on now into the orange zone. Now these guys, it's a maybe watch out as well for these guys, but I have a little bit of confidence, but you got to watch out because for example, Manuel Sosa, I might lay some skin on Bellagioki getting the job done. I think Bellagioki's pretty live as well in this. So Sosa made it just because of his sheer athletic ability as well. Looks pretty dangerous. He's calm, composed, and collected in the octagon. So, but let's start off with Jillian Robinson. She's going to be taking on Amanda Lemos. I think Amanda Lemos is pretty live in this as well. So this is something you definitely got to be cautious for. But if you can get her under 200, around that range, not a bad. I would definitely for this one look for more props. I would definitely look into the props for this one. Amanda Lemos is good. So, I wouldn't want to mess with that Robinson money line. If I'm going to take the risk of betting on her, let me get the submission. Maybe a decision. Maybe a double chance submission. Or, it might drop those lines down to like a 1. minus 160 or something like that. If you can find a double chance or something, I don't know. It might even be worse. Sometimes they're a little jacked up. Next up, we got Mawan Rahiki. He's taking on Henry Hardwick and Harry Hardwick. If you don't know, Harry Hardwick just fought in his UFC debut versus Cal Fernandez. If you don't know what happened, he got chopped down bad, like chopped down and pretty much lost by leg kicks. And I'll be 100% honest with you, his skill before the UFC, he looks like a good fighter. It is just so hard to back a guy come into the UFC who got leg kicked out. So yes, I'm confident Rahiki looks really good. He's been getting a lot of finishes in the regional scene. He looks like he should be finishing this guy. But I want to be weary, and I want people to be cautious on this fact that, you know, of my pick with him, because Harry Hardwick, I'm judging him straight off of that. Skill wise, they almost look pretty similar. Honestly, I'm just going the fact that that guy could, you know, he got finished by leg kicks, and I'm bringing that up to you because this is the betting video right here. This is, you know, I'm trying to give you more insight and give you more of my thought process. And obviously, nothing should be tailed blindly. You know, people should always do their own research, or, you know, if I'm helping you out that much, I'm giving you the idea like, hey, I might have him as the pick, but I'm letting you know here's the reason why. So take that what you want. Steven Asplin in the concrete, you know, I throw that in there, but you know, there's a lot of other factors that I really play off of. That's just a small one that I like to exaggerate. But this is something, you know, I'm saying I'm going off of that, and I want you to be weary of that. Reiki looks like a real deal, but Harry Hardwick, he could just come out and look like a whole new fighter, you know, really trained on, you know, not taking these leg kicks, or, you know, who knows? Who knows? So who knows if Rahiki's leg kicks aren't on the level of Kai Fernandez? We all know that he has some mean leg kicks. So just throwing that out there. But we're not going to spend too much more time on that. Let's get into Piera Rodriguez. She's going to be taking on Sam Hughes. Now, this is in the orange zone because, yes, she won last time. And in my breakdown, I picked her. And I say that, you know, she's aggressive. You know, she had a loss that where she headbutted the girl. So that really wasn't a loss. She was winning the whole fight. She had another one that was a premature stoppage, but she did get caught in a nasty armbar, actually, versus Jillian Robinson. Sam Hughes, though, has improved a lot. She looks like a really, really good fighter now. And it was a close fight. So I really want you to be cautious in you know, fighting Piera Rodriguez, especially at that minus 162, because it is kind of tempting. But I'm sure a lot of people are jumping on the Sam Hughes side. I'm sure. I'm pretty sure that's why the lines I've closed a little bit, maybe. I don't know. Definitely be weary of playing her. That's another fight I would say go find some props. You know, go find some good props on that over. You know, if it's not ridiculous out overpriced like usual, because, you know, women's fights always go to decision most of the time. But yeah, be wary of that. Sam Hughes is showing a lot of improvement. I think she is live for an upset here as well. It's really hard to judge that one, but I won't spend too much more time on that. Let's get into this last one. In the orange zone, we got Manuel Sosa. He's taking on Balaji. Balaji is very live in this as well. I'm throwing him in this orange zone because that 330 is crazy, and I don't think he's a minus 330. If he goes out there and gets the finish, I'm gonna look stupid, but hey, that's part of this game. It's even worse when you put your own money up and you lose that. That's worse than looking stupid to the public, you know. I'm just giving the insight here. Balaji is live here. If you go look at Balaji losses, one is to Mason Jones, and I want to say another is like to an undefeated prospect. He's had two good losses, you know, and Manuel Sosa, he's getting, you know, this is his UFC debut or second fight or something like that. He's early in the career, and taking on someone like Balaji, that's a tricky task here. Okay, that minus 330 price tag, I'm not liking it a whole lot. I'm not liking it. I would be very cautious of this. It's worth the prop, you know, Manuel Sosa by finish or something by sub. That's where I think he's live. But if this fight, if he's patient on the feet and really times that takedown, and he takes his time waiting to pursue it, that could be an issue here. Balaji could catch him, and then he could panic wrestle, and then, you know, Balaji is a strong guy, so be wary of this. Minus 330, I don't really like that. That's why he made the orange zone. This is a big caution right here. These four, be very, very cautious on betting on them. That's just my predictions. Other people will say different. Now let's get in to the prop zone. We got 6 props up here. Some of them haven't found any lines for them yet, especially like the strikes. 2 of them we do. I'm still going to go into these and tell you why you should be playing these props. All right. We got the Vallejos and 60 plus strikes. I think you can even go higher. This is a 5-round fight. I say it's safe to even go up to like 100 plus. I think, Josh Emmett's a very durable guy. Vallejos puts a lot of output out. He's going to be catching him. I think a prop bet like that, I don't see the finish happening in this fight. I think a prop bet is very safe. I know he has the crazy power, but again, Emmett went rounds with Ilya Taporia. I would definitely target Vallejos even more than 60. So next up, we got Robertson versus Lemos. We're gonna take that over 2.5 at -165. I think that's a good one. I think these are 2 very high level fighters. I think Lemos is she beat Mackenzie Dern not too long ago. Let's all not forget that, which is one of the most elite grapplers in this division. As much as I think Robertson can win, Lemos can make this competitive, and I say over 2.5 at the -165 for a women's fight is a steal. I say you go hop on that pretty quick. Don't need to go into that one too much. I really like that. Now, what my guess is this Robertson +2. You can probably find an over under for like 3.5, +3.5. As far as the takedowns, I think Jillian Robertson's very live for that. I see her getting a takedown in every one of these rounds. Lemos could be getting up as well, and with her getting up, it makes it more live for another takedown. So that 3.5 is a tricky. So that's why I have the +2, because that's like almost the guarantee right there. But 3.5 is not bad either. But I see Jillian Robertson definitely getting this fight to the ground, and Amanda Lemos making her work, possibly getting up, and some more takedowns being acquired by Jillian Robertson. Next up, let's get into Petrino versus Asplin. If you're not really liking my pick, if you're not liking my Asplin money line, if you're not rolling with that, by KO, the fight ends in KO. As much as I want to say it goes, I think it's a 50-50 if it goes all the way or ends in knockout, to be honest. It's a toss-up. Fight ending by KO +135, 2 heavyweights, half a unit or something like that. I don't think it would hurt. I don't think it would hurt. These guys do have finishing ability. I think it might be on the Asplin side though. But if you're not rocking with that and you're saying, I think Petrino knocks him out, rock with the 1 +35 and just hope it ends in a KO at all. Maybe target it under, but I think that ends in KO is a pretty good bet. There is the chance always that Vito Petrino can get the sub, but I don't think this is got a lot of faith in Steven Asplin here. So yeah, ends by KO +135. Grab that. Another one definitely to look at: Mitsibek Oroblai getting 2+ takedowns. Again, it might be like Jillian Robertson. It could be like a 3.5 over 2.5 takedowns or something like that. I say you go for it. I see him getting takedowns on Chris Curtis. He has a very awkward shooting style here. And I think his craftiness is going to get this fight to the ground. He can get this fight to the fence and then eventually wear down on Chris Curtis. I see that happening for sure 2 of the rounds. Maybe the later rounds where he might look to do it. He might look to stand up a little bit more in that first round going into it. But definitely target that. And we got one more takedown prop coming by way with Bia Mosqueda. Shit, I say go +5 on this one. She's gonna be taking down Montserrat Rendon. She's strong. She has the frame for it. She's big. Just I would definitely go look for some takedown props. A lot of other props on the side of her, especially with that money line being so high as the biggest favorite on this card. But yeah, I think she's very live to get a lot of takedowns in this. At the same time, though, you might want to be careful because her first takedown could be her last in this situation, and she could get a finish. So that's why I think 2 safe. I think Rondon could maybe survive a round. Second round on that second takedown attempt is very live for the finish. I would be very careful on a 3.5 or anything higher than 3 takedowns. I'd be very careful because 4 might not happen. They might not need to happen, but I think she gets this job done inside the distance. Another one to look for. But overall, yeah, target those takedowns. It's going to happen. If you can find the one, it might be high, but I can almost guarantee one takedown will happen in this fight. That's the prop zone. Now we're going to end off the presentation here with the lock. That's going to be the lock of the week. I think this is going to be a lot of people's lock of the week. I want to throw out there an honorable mention was Bia Mosqueda, but it's their second fight in the UFC. This guy has already been taking some goods down. Kevin Vallejos, minus 590. That's the lock right there, guys. I see him getting this job done. There is the chance of a Emmett making one big shot, but Kevin Vallejos is shown to be pretty durable. I like who he's been in the cage with already before fighting Emmett. He's been in that higher level. He just finished Gigi Chikadze in a devastating fashion. Who is an elite striker. He's definitely older. Emmett's older as well. Definitely the lock right here. Like I said, honorable mention, Bia Mosqueda. She almost made it, but I got to give it to Kevin Vallejos, especially when you're just looking at these numbers. He's already had his big finishes coming into the UFC. He's fought Gene Silva in the regional scene. Lock of the week right here. I really appreciate you guys for tuning in. Again, if you haven't already, like and subscribe. Drop a comment. Give me your lock of the week. Give me your green zone. Give me your props to look for. Help me out. I might see something I like. Go ahead, follow me on Instagram. Go ahead, follow the TikTok, join the Discord if you haven't already. Message me if you want me to send a link. Join the Juice Reels. If you like the beat or you want to talk any other business inquiries, go ahead, hit me an email at rhythmbetsllc@gmail.com. Thanks for joining the Rhythm Zone. Again, every week we'll be improving, getting better here. I'll be showing a lot more data, a lot more statistics here. We're going to start getting this money. I'll be dropping more. Looking to start dropping some reaction videos of the card as well. Thank you guys. See you next time.